Did you know that it's possible to extract structured information in CSV and Excel format from any website? This is possible with a technique called web scraping. This technique would be useful for applications such as monitoring court dates and dockets on the court's websites, monitoring the latest news, keeping up to date with the latest real estate listings, or even having a look at your competition and making sure you don't miss any updates from them. In this video, I'll be showing you how you can use the software called Octoparse, no coding required, to extract information from the US patent database. Let's get going. Now here we have the US patent database. The objective here would be for the program to first of all introduce the publication date of a particular date, click search, and then as you can see over here in the table, we have all the information about the patents filed on the date with their patent number, the PDF link, which would also actually want to download, the title, inventor name, publication date, and the number of pages. As you can see, if we scroll down, there are just 50 results per page, and so there are also actually multiple pages that we need to look at. So the idea would be that the program can also not only extract the information from the first page, again in CSV or Excel format, but then also click on the next button and extract all the information there. All right, so the first step would be just copying the link and heading over to Octoparse. Now, Octoparse software requires no coding, so you can get started straight away. It can run either on your machine or in the cloud, and it has quite an easy interface to follow, and also actually has a lot of templates. So for example, if you want to do LinkedIn job scraping or Google Maps scraping or Amazon product detail scraping, there are a lot of templates that already exist for that, and so you can just get started straight away. In this particular case, there is no template that already exists, so we'll create a new task. So let's click here, new custom task, and then for the URL source, you can either import them from file, import from another task, or actually batch generate it. For example, if you want to look at multiple URLs for different dates, you would be able to do that here. But for our particular use case and for this demo, we're just going to use one. So we just paste the URL here, click save. Now within Octoparse, there is full browser, inbuilt browser, which we can use to navigate through the page, and we'll be able to select the elements that we want to extract, the elements that we want to change, or make any actions upon. Now there are two modes. There is this normal mode in which if you select an element, it will then give you an option here on the right on the action that you want to perform with that element. For example, loop through the options in this drop down. Or if you click browse, you'll be able to use it just a normal browser and actually see and check the page that you're looking at. Now, as you can see here, we don't yet have the list of the patents, and that's because we need to either use this quick lookup here with the patent or publication number, obviously not that useful for our use case, or this basic search, which allows us to filter, for example, by the publication date. So first of all, to filter by the publication date, we'll need to select that field from here from the first drop-down. So let's switch over to the browse mode, go over here and check that this option exists. So publication date, fantastic. And let's also note the order of that option within this drop-down. So it is the 8th option over here. Let's go back. Now let's click on this element. Again, here on the right, then appear the actions that we can perform. For switching elements inside of a drop-down, we would need to use this loop through the options in the drop-down menu. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to loop through all of them, but that just gives us the option to switch the drop-down to the correct value. If you click then on this step over here, you'll be able to see a few settings. For example, it has put the X path or the element path on the web page over here. And it has, as you can see, it has already displayed all the 8 loop items that we have over here. Now, if we just want to go through just one of them, what we can do is if we go to the back of this X path, we'll be able to select the order of the option that we actually want. So in this case, for example, it would be square brackets 8, which would be the last option. You can also filter them out by text as well. Just a bit more complicated. So now if we go back, you'll be able to see, sorry, I didn't apply it. So 8, click apply. And now if we go back, you'll be able to see that we only have the publication date. Fantastic. And then the system has also automatically added this action for switching the dropdown, which will, again, if you preview it, you'll be able to see that it has switched it to the publication date. Cool. Now let's actually add the value, right, that we're filtering by. This will be, again, click on the text field, click enter text, and in the text we're going to put it in the format that is required over here. So as you can see, year, months, and date. So let's say 2024 06 25. Now, from my distance so far, unfortunately, the program doesn't give you the option to dynamically input text. So, for example, just for today's date. So it's a bit less useful in that regard. So we'll just need to hard code this value for now. Click confirm. Let's also move this text over here after we have switched the drop down. So again, put the publication date, enter the text, and then after that, we'll just need to click search. So again, click on the elements, say click button, and just like that, all the data is loaded over here. Now, a cool feature of Octoparse is that then you could just use this auto-detect web page data. It will analyze the page and it will see, okay, what data can be extracted automatically. So let's wait until it completes. And as you can see, it has correctly identified the table. It has loaded the results of this table over here in the separate fields. And additionally, it has also correctly identified the pagination. So once we reach the end of the page, it actually needs to click on that button and go to the next page, scrape the data until there's no more data left. So let's just click create workflow. And this will add these items over here to our workflow on the right. So how does this work? First of all, there's this pagination loop, which also then just defines, okay, after the data has finished, what button needs to be pressed. After that, we are looping through this table over here and extracting the data, and then clicking the paginate button to go to the next page. Cool, so this should work. As you can see, again, we already have a preview of all of this data. The only things that would need to be done now is to format the data in the way that we want. So for example, these two display fields, preview and PDF, are really the same for all of them, so I don't think that they're useful. So we can just click delete field. And same with this one, delete field. You can also do stuff such as, for example, cleaning up the data or formatting in the way that you want. You can use this clean data feature over here to then do a lot of things such as regular expression, trim spaces, add in prefixes, convert into different time zones or timestamps. We also, as you can see, we have this display URL over here for the PDF. Now that's useful, but it would be even more useful if the program can actually automatically download the actual files. That's actually also an option. So we just click over here. You can select this downloads files, which will then also add a folder path over here in which it will be downloading the actual files once the program runs. Could now be ready to test this out. And from my previous testing, I know that there's one other thing that we need to change in our setup, and that is if we enter the search values directly, for some reason the query doesn't work, it throws an error. What seems to fix it is actually, before we enter information here, scrolling down to the bottom of the page to make sure it's fully loaded. And you can do this here if you click on the go to web page's first action. In the options, there is a feature, scroll down to the page after it's loaded to the bottom of the page. That seems to fix it. Again, this you would only know depending on a particular use case. So this is set up. Let's click run. You can either run on your device or in the cloud. So let's run on our device. It will also confirm where you want the files to be saved. And this window pops up with the extracted data, the process, and if you click show browser, you'll actually be able to see what the program is doing on the back end. So as you can see, it scrolls down to the page. It then enters the publication date and the search, loads the results, and as you can see, we start getting the data. Now we need to get 50 of them on this first page. Fantastic. Clicks pagination, goes to the second page, and starts extracting more information. If we go to the first one, it then also in the backend is loading the actual files. It will just take obviously a bit longer to do so. Let's actually pause it to make sure that we can visualize it. And as you can see, it has already downloaded all of these files over here, and so they have this file path over here as well. So let's stop this. We have extracted probably 3 or 4 pages of actual data, and as you can see, about 10 files. So let's just click stop. It will still save all the information. And click export, export all. And then you can choose either if you want to export in Excel, CSV, or another format. Click confirm, and as well just where you want it to be exported. Fantastic. So let's go now to the downloads folder. If we open up the Excel, you'll be able to see that we have all of this information over here. Let me just make it a bit bigger. We have the results row. We have the patent number, we have the URL to the download on the web and the local folder path where it was saved. We have the title of the patent, and then we also have the inventor name, publication date, and the number of pages, all nicely formatted. Fantastic. So we do have the data. Now let's check what about the files. They have been saved over here. This was the latest run. Display URL, and as you can see, we have all of these PDF files with all of these patents on our machine. So just like this, you can use Octoparser to extract information from any kind of website. Now, obviously, there are a few more complexities. For example, if there are captchas or essentially these challenges on the web page which make sure that you're human, then it will be a bit harder to do so, but there are still some techniques that you can work around it. Obviously, as well, the logic that you have here can be much more complex in terms of branching, in terms of extracting information from each one of the sub pages if there exists. But this should give you a nice head start and open your mind to the possibilities of what's possible. If you get stuck, let me know. We'd be happy to answer your questions, and I hope you got some value out of this. Thank you for watching.